Okay, sorry. One last thing. I swear this is the last thing. Earlier in the week, I came up with a really cool idea for One Direction's new tour. I meant to include it earlier in the video, but I forgot. I think that either for the 2013 tour or possibly even a 2014 tour, we should make the show a sci-fi fantasy themed adventure where they're traveling and there's like a storyline and a plot line similar to Lady Gaga's Monster Ball and Born This Way Ball. I think the tour needs to have an Alice in Wonderland theme, and we definitely need to incorporate elaborate sets, lighting, light shows, possibly even some Cirque du Soleil themed characters with elaborate costumes and, you know, whimsical things. But my idea is to call the tour A Trip to 1D Land. Get it? 1D Land? Wonderland? It sounds alike, I guess, but yeah, I know it's a pretty silly idea, but I think it's a pretty clever name for it. My idea for this is that just like in Lady Gaga's Monster Ball, I think the boys should be kind of trying to get out of the maze that is Wonderland. Maybe in the beginning they're on their way to their next show and they stop in the woods and they all fall into a hole which leads to Wonderland. And there's going to be all kinds of elaborate sets and interesting things and places and absolutely some really cool characters with strange costumes and maybe some magical creatures and different interesting things and different characters that they meet along the way that help them on their journey to their next show. I think that would be a really cool idea and a really interesting experience for fans as well. And of course, we can't forget the light shows with, you know, cool effects and stuff. But one more thing. Yeah, this is the last thing. But I think to make the tour more efficient, either the 2013 World Tour or the Wonderland 2014 tour, possibly, I think that we need to do regional tours as opposed to touring a different city and going to like 20, 30 different cities in a region. For example, in North America, instead of going to, you know, several different cities and locations, we should just focus on regions like the Northeast, like the New York, New Jersey area, the Southeast, like Florida, Atlanta, and then the West Coast, which would be Southern California and maybe Northern California as well. And we could do the same for Canada, maybe just play in like 2 or 3 cities up there, and it would just be a lot more efficient, not just economically, but also environmentally. Here is what I'm thinking. I think that for each city, well, it would be more like a region. For each region and each location they play at, for each location they would stay at a hotel for 3 or 4, possibly 5 nights and 5 days. And what would happen is they would come to the city and they would get all set up with the sets and the lighting and the equipment and stuff like that, and the boys would get acclimated and adjusted to everything. Of course, they would have rehearsals, but what I'm thinking is we can we can do 4 performances on 4 nights and maybe pack up on the fifth night. Or no, the last performance would be on the 5th night, and then we would pack up and leave for the next city. I think this would be a lot more efficient because not only would it be easier on the crew and the equipment people, but it would also be easier for the truck drivers because it would be less traveling and less stressful and hectic. They would just have everything all set up and they would just do a couple shows. And the fans, of course, would just travel to the night of their choice, and they would maybe stay in a hotel and get to see possibly even more than one show. But what I'm thinking is during the day, probably in the morning from about 8 to 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we would do a meet and greet. where the fans would get to take pictures and get autographs with the boys and basically get to interact with them. We could sell tickets for this as well, but I think it would be a much better experience, not just for the boys, but also for the fans, because the boys would get more time to relax and maybe travel the city and get to go sightseeing as well. And it would just be less stressful because there would be less traveling involved and less readjusting to do. So I think it would just make for a much better fit, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think it would just be a lot easier on everyone if we did regional tours as opposed to going to every city. And we can apply this model for Europe and Asia as well, possibly even South America too. But those are my ideas. And once again, if you are management for the record label or One Direction, I encourage you to direct message me on Twitter at Chris_Hahn, and I look forward to hearing from you so we can discuss my ideas more in detail, and get to explain more of my ideas. But I hope you like it. Bye. One more thing. I think it would be really interesting and really awesome if we could incorporate a 6th member of One Direction. I think it would be really interesting to see how the dynamic changes, like how a new guy can contribute to the group and become friends and basically add and contribute to the group. I think that'll be really awesome. I myself am a singer. I've been singing for almost 8 years, and I have been performing in chorus and things of that nature, but I think it would be awesome if we did an open call as well and we held auditions. But I called dibs on the first audition because this was my idea. But I hope you guys like my idea, and I hope you consider me. Bye.